6 years ago, I shared a LUSH-inspired Argan Rose DIY shampoo bar, and it's time to update that formula. I still really like the original, but in order to make a very sturdy bar, you needed a really powerful press. And I have tweaked the formulation now, so you can shape these bars by hand or press them, whatever works for you and whatever equipment you have. This revamped version still kicks out oodles of fluffy bubbles, leaves your hair shiny and soft, and smells fabulous. Before we can start making, you'll need a few pieces of equipment. If you've done much making, you'll probably have most of it already. A digital scale, a bowl, some spoons, and a few smaller bowls to weigh ingredients into. But you'll also need two specific things you might not already have if you're a newer maker. A pair of nitrile gloves so you can really get in there and mash the shampoo bar together, and to protect your lungs and prevent seriously unpleasant coughing fits, you'll need a tight-fitting respirator that seals well on your face. Okay, now that we are all gloved and masked up, we can weigh out the dry phase of this shampoo bar. We'll begin with the bubbles. You'll need 112 grams of sodium cocoa sulfate in this little stick or needle form. This is the same ingredient Lush uses today, and it's what gives their bar its distinctive needly appearance. Sodium cocoa sulfate is a great cleanser and creates oodles of rich, indulgent lather. To make my formulation easier on the hair though, I'm not using just sodium cocoa sulfate. You'll also need 154 grams of gentler Sodium Cocoyl Isethionate, this time in finely powdered form. You can get Sodium Cocoyl Isethionate in stick form as well. That's what I used back in 2020, but that's why that version of the formulation needed to be pressed. Using a finely powdered version instead creates a workable dough instead, and that dough doesn't need to be powerfully smashed into a mold to make a hard, long-lasting bar. For more doughiness and gorgeous slip, you'll need 14 grams guar gum. Lush uses agar for this job, but guar gum tends to be easier to get. Now, for the wet ingredients that'll turn everything into a dough. Weigh out 43.89 grams distilled water, and to that, add just 0.03 grams water-soluble red dye. Lush uses red 33, and I'm using red 40. I know this seems like barely any, but it doesn't take much to make the finished bars pink. Up next, weigh in 2.45 grams citric acid and stir to dissolve. We need the citric acid because sodium cocoa sulfate has quite a high pH, but for hair health, we need the shampoo to be mildly acidic. Citric acid takes care of that, creating a shampoo bar with a pH that's right around 5.3. For some moisturizing goodness, you'll need 6.13 grams vegetable glycerine. To keep the shampoo from being too harsh on the hair, weigh out 10.5 grams argan oil. 3.5 grams Optiphen Plus preserves the bar. And lastly, scent. I'm sticking with the LUSH-inspired Argan Rose theme, so I'm using 3.5 grams of Stock Fragrance's Eau de Rose fragrance oil. You can definitely scent your bars differently if you prefer, just make sure whatever you use is approved for use at 1% in IFRA Category 7A products. To make these bars, begin by dumping the dry ingredients into a bowl and stirring until uniform. Up next, make a well in the center and pour in the liquids. Give that mixture a stir to begin to combine, and then if you're not already wearing your gloves, put them on now and get in there with your hands. Smush, knead, mash, and squeeze everything together. If you are at the point in your shampoo bar making journey where you'd like to break away from following formulations like this one and start formulating your very own, please check out my shampoo bar workshop. In it, I teach you how to formulate rock-hard shampoo bars for any hair type from the ground up. There's a link in the description box if you'd like to learn more and sign up. Once you've got a smooth, workable dough, it's time to shape the bars before we leave them to age. As promised, you can shape them by hand if you want, or you can use a mold or press. How many bars you'll get from this 350 gram batch depends entirely on how big each bar is. I'm going to make 5 70-gram bars, shaping them with this little round hand press from Humblebee. I'm lining the top and the bottom with cut-to-size pieces of parchment paper to make unmolding easy. Once you've shaped all the bars, you can tidy them up a bit if needed, and then leave them to dry and harden for 3 to 5 days before using. To use, massage into soaking wet hair to work up oodles of lather. Work thoroughly into your scalp, rinse, and follow up with a lovely moisturizing conditioner. If you've never made your own conditioner, you've got to watch this video next. It is really easy to make and super fun. Thank you so much for watching, and happy making. Bye!